about motivation and, more to the point, like lack of motivation, because that is definitely something that every single person on the planet faces at some point. And for me this weekend, hang on, let these cars go past. And for me this weekend, I struggled with motivation to get on my bike because it was raining, it was wet, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to go. But I planned to go back to my mum and dad's, which is about 90k away, and I just kept putting it off. And eventually I did it anyway, and it was a bit of a slog on the way. So my main tip for motivation is, and this might sound like what you're even on about, but this is what I do. The times where I don't feel motivated to do things are the times where I actually make myself do them. And the reason for that is it's almost like a memory bank of motivation. So like yesterday, on Friday when I rode, I was like, I really didn't want to ride, and I rode anyway. And then today I felt like, I didn't feel any, like, not as bad lack of motivation as I did, but I still feel a bit like, oh, should I get the train back? And I was like, look, if I could have done that day where I felt like utter shit, then I can do it on a day where I generally feel okay. So I've actually been out in like thunderstorm rain and really, really bad wind, and even those times where I was on the bike, it was horrific. I really like that I've done them, because getting through that, I always think now, like, if I'm going to go out on a ride and it's spitting a little bit, I'm like, well, it's never going to be as bad as that. Or if it's really windy, I'm like, well, it's never going to be as windy as that day. So they're good tips for motivation, I think. Go out and do it anyway. And don't always push yourself. If you genuinely feel like under the weather or like really exhausted, don't force yourself to do things. There's a difference between motivation and then just pushing yourself to do things when your body just physically does not want to let you do it. So that's another thing. And then 2 other final tips is make sure that you've slept enough and you're eating and drinking enough. Like, you will not have motivation to do things if you are tired, if you are hungry and you are thirsty. So make sure all those are taken care of. And yeah, but just don't think that no one else has like lack of motivation, because we all do. It's easy to see people on the internet who are like doing this, that and the other, and you just think, oh my god, those people are so motivated all the time. And yes, they can be most of the time, but we do all have those periods of like, oh, I just don't want to do this. So I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. Motivate yourself is remember why you are doing that thing that you want to motivate yourself to do in the first place. Because for me, for cycling, once you get out, like the first 5 minutes, the hardest thing actually is getting out of the door. And I remind myself how I feel when I'm on my bike, because I just love the freedom of it. I love the countryside. I love getting like sweaty. It is hard sometimes, but you just got to remember why you love it.